So if you're somebody who's looking to restart their swing, or maybe just looking to simplify down their swing, have a bit of a tune-up, then this is a must-do video, because this is what I would do if I had to start again. Now, what are these 3 key areas that we're going to focus on in today's video? The first key area is setup. Every consistent golf swing starts with a great setup. The second area, the pivot. The pivot is the glue that holds everything together in the swing. And the third area, club face. There is a saying in golf that club face is king. So without further ado, let's jump into the first area, which is setup. The setup. I already know what you're thinking. You're going, oh, that's so boring, that's so vanilla, but trust me, it is crucial. If you set up in the wrong position, you are putting bad foundations to your golf swing. You wouldn't build a house on bad foundations, and you wouldn't build a golf swing on bad foundations. If we can set up in the right position, it's going to set off positive chain reactions. It's going to mean you have to do less compensations in the swing. Go look at your favorite male or female tour pro out there. I guarantee you pretty much every single time you go watch them play, their setup is flawless, and yours needs to be the same. Now, what I'm not going to do is give you a setup 101. I've done that in other videos, you don't need to see that right now. But what I am going to do is pick out 2 key things that I see a lot of golfers get wrong, and that I would really hone in on if I was to start again. And these are both body positions. So the first one is from the front on view, and it's where is your pelvis? I see so many people get the pelvis too far back at address. So it's sort of cat-handed this way, and you can see as I do that, that gets my midsection into a very awkward position. Now from here, we often see a lot of golfers reverse pivot, laterally sway, makes it extremely difficult to rotate, and then the chain reactions from there are going to be endless, but for the negative. So what I want you to do is imagine you are in a rectangle right here. If you see that your pelvis is closer to the trail side of that rectangle, then you know that your pelvis is off position. It is too far back. It's going to be very hard to produce an efficient motion from here. Versus, I want you to actually have the pelvis pretty even, so that the space between each hip is fairly even between the lines, or actually I'd rather you be slightly closer towards the lead side. This is going to put your lower back in a nice sort of tilted position right here, very consistent angle all the way down. It's going to make it way easier to pivot, get into some good body angles. Ultimately, that's going to allow you to swing the club on plane and rotate way easier throughout the whole swing. So imagine that. Imagine you are in a rectangle, you're going to bump the hip closer to the lead line. That's then going to make pivoting and swinging the club around your body way easier. Let's now jump to the downline view. The second thing I would make sure I have correct if I was to start again is posture. Posture is massive when it comes to the golf swing. I see so many people get it wrong. Early extension is one of the most common issues that I see every single day on the lesson tee, and the number one root cause for this is because of a poor posture. So I often see players get too squatted or too far over this way. We're going to fix that today. So what I want to be seeing when you're setting up in an athletic position is, number one, we have the weight pretty evenly distributed between the toes and the heels. Number two, we have a soft amount of knee bend so that the front of the kneecaps is over the balls of the feet. Number three, the lower back is in a neutral position, so it's not arched back this way, which we call anterior pelvic tilt, and it's not this way, which we call posterior pelvic tilt. It's in a nice neutral position, a soft little bit around to the upper spine, and then from there we can see the armpits, the knees, and the balls of the feet are all in one straight line. If you can get into this position here, you are going to be able to rotate so freely. There is no tension on my body right there. It's going to be so easy to rotate. This is going to be the foundation that's going to allow you to pivot correctly. You're not going to have to make compensations. And again, trust me, go out on tour, look at all the tour pros out there. How many of them have a bad posture? They don't have bad postures because they work on it every single day, and you need to as well. So what you're going to do to get into this good position is, I want you to stand straight upright right here and bring your arms up. Now, you're going to lower your arms down until your inner biceps get connected with your chest. You'll feel the pressure right there. In this position, just let the club just sort of droop slightly. Now, you're going to bend forwards whilst keeping your legs straight and your hips relatively level. So don't arch your hips forwards this way, keep them relatively level, and just bend forwards till the club touches the ground. You can see my upper back has a soft amount of curve, lower back is relatively flat. Now from here, unlock the legs and just get into that nice position. This is going to be a great position for you to be in. Again, the checkpoint, armpits, knees, balls of the feet are all in one straight line. Weight is evenly distributed right here. It's going to be so easy to get a good pivot, and then from there it's going to be so easy to produce a nice repeatable golf swing. Let me show you what that looks like in action. Here's this good posture. Now I can just rotate freely around my body. The second key part of the swing that I would focus on if I was starting again once I've done my setup is the pivot. The pivot is the glue that holds the golf swing together. If your pivot's on point, you're going to see the club's going to work beautifully around your body and ultimately is going to result in some fantastic shots. Now, the great thing is the 2 drills that I'm going to go through today, you don't need to be at the golf course to do them. You don't need to hit shots. You can do them at home, you can do them at the office, you can do them wherever you like. Now, they are also going to work on not only the backswing, but the transition and the downswing. So they are must-dos. Now, let's just run through some sort of quick guidelines that I want to be seeing with a good pivot. So when we start to pivot back, if I was to draw 2 lines down the edges of my hips, I wouldn't want to see in my backswing that my hips move laterally through that trail line right there. I would want to see that at the top of the backswing, I have created about a golf ball worth of space between my trail hip and the line. My left glute muscle is going to be relatively close to staying connected to the line at address, and you can see my spine angle is leaning slightly away from the target. From the down the line view, you can see that my shoulders are now tilted, and in this position my arms are nice and elevated in a great spot there. And what you'll also find is when you pivot right, the hands and arms and the club will tend to just follow on a great plane. So really this is sort of the motor of the swing. A great analogy is imagine a speedboat pulling a jet ski. The speedboat is the motor, that's the pivot. The hands and arms, they're the jet skier, they're being tugged along, and they just sort of follow where the boat goes. Now what are we going to see from the top of the backswing? From the top of the backswing, we will see a shift towards the lead leg as the lead hip starts to open. We'll start to create some separation between the upper body and lower body. The club will be working down on plane, rotating, rotating, rotating. And as you can now see from the downline view, this impact position, the right arm's tucked in, the shoulders has some inclination to it, the lead hip's higher than the trail hip, and ultimately I've got a good amount of rotation right here. This will then carry me through all the way to the release where I can have that nice free flowing release. So you can really see the keys to a good pivot are number 1 in the backswing, we stay very centered and we have a nice amount of tilt. In the downswing, we're going to have that little pressure shift back to the left side, and then from there we're going to rotate through whilst keeping the angles in our shoulders, in our bodies as well. So now we know what we're looking for. Let's run into some drills that are going to help you learn this. Now the first drill that we're going to go through, we don't actually need to have a golf club in our hands. So what I want you to do is to take your hands, place them on the side of your legs. Now from here, get into your golf posture. As we turn, I want you to slide your left hand down to the edge of your left knee and your right hand up to your right hip. Now as I do that, I'm trying to feel like I stay nice and centered and I get a good stretch up my right side. So you can see as I do this, if I just freeze into this position, I have turned very centered right here, got a great hip turn. From the downline view, because I've slid my left hand down, you can see how my shoulders have a great inclination right there, and ultimately this has put me in a good top of the backswing position. Now from there, have a little bit of a shift, and then you're going to reverse it. Right hand's now going to go down to the right leg, left hand's going to go up to the left leg. You can see in this position again from the downline view, body's pivoted really nice, shoulders have got that slight inclination, lead hip has rotated open very, very well. So if I do that one more time now in full motion, I'm going to go here, hands on the side, I'm going to turn back, shift, turn through, and you can see as I'm doing this, I'm just getting used to what it feels like to start to get my body moving correctly. You'll feel your shoulders stay in that great inclination. You'll feel very much stretches going in your body. You'll feel very engaged. This is exactly what we want to be feeling here. Staying centered, great rotation, great shoulder tilt, then from there shift, and then pivot on the way through. Now you can do that as much as you want, and it's just going to benefit your swing, because then what you can do is then you can take your hands off in front of you. Imagine you've got a golf club in your hand, try and recreate then those same feelings, and I can feel those same feelings as I'm producing that motion right now. Now the second pivot drill I got for you is an amazing drill. What I want you to do is grab 2 alignment sticks. You're going to take your first alignment stick and pop it right through your belt loops just like so. So it's pretty even 50-50. Then take the second alignment stick and pop it on your shoulders, but I want you to have the majority of it away from the target. Then from there, just use your palms to hold that into position. Now, as I set up here, I want to make a backswing and feel like as I turn back, I can get this alignment stick on my shoulders pointing slightly down to the ground, and from the down the line view, you can see how this alignment stick is on a slight incline this way. This is a great way to show you that your pelvis has that slight inclination, which is crucial for creating that good pivot. So if I do that one more time in the backswing, I've got majority away from the target, I turn back, you can see I created that nice centered pivot, got some good shoulder tilt right there, pelvis has got a good full rotation. Now, here's the key thing, and this is where this drill is exceptional. I want you to have that shift and then start to clear that left hip open. Now, as you come through, you can see how my alignment stick on the shoulders, the white alignment stick, has touched the back of the yellow alignment stick, the one through my belt loops. Now, why is this important? What's one of the biggest issues we see in golf? We see golfers get to the top of the swing and they swing over the top like so. Well, you can see if I do that, how far apart these two alignment sticks are. Why? Because we've not created any separation between the upper body and the lower body. This is one of the best drills out there to help you create that separation. So if I get into this position and I go to the top in that great position, I shift and then I start to rotate and I drop the right shoulder, you can see how that puts me into this great inclined position with the shoulders. I've got some good side bend, aka right bend, and you can see in this position I'm ready to hit the ball absolutely flush and bang on plane. Now do that a couple times and just start to get a little bit of speed into there. So you start to blend all of it together, and I want you to blend it all together. Ultimately the pivot is a fluid motion. It's not backswing, then transition, then downswing. We can split it up as we learn it, but ultimately the goal is to try and get it into one fluid motion. We want to have that silky smooth tempo, just like an Ernie Els used to have. That was amazing to watch his swing, just how smooth it and effortless it looked. So if I do that a couple times now, here, shift, turn it through, and just go at that sort of pace, and you can quicken up the more confident you get. That's the second drill, and that's going to ensure that you learn how to pivot correctly, especially in the downswing, to get that good right bend. So the next stage, once you've done those two drills, is to then incorporate it with a golf club. So start slow, start with some rehearsal swings, and the one thing that I would always say is make sure that as you do these, you make contact with the ground. I see so many people do, especially when you're on mats, because you're not going to be taking divot, I see so many people do swings like this. And you go, well, you're training yourself to not make ground contact. Ultimately, ground contact is one of the most important skills in golf. And when we're on a mat and we're not going to be on grass taking divots every time, we are just going to be trying to brush the ground closer to that lead foot. That's going to encourage that low point moving further forwards as we do this pivot drill. And that's going to help us encourage that ball and then ground contact, which we see all the best players in the world do. So let me give it a go for you right now. I'm going to feel that same feeling with the pivot drill, and then from there, give it a rip. The third key area of the swing that I would focus on if I was starting again from scratch is the club face. Now the club face is a crucial one because our bodies are always reacting to the club face position. Now why is this? Well, at impact, the club face determines where the ball starts. If the club face is pointing all over the place, the ball's going to go all over the place. So our bodies, although it might not feel like it half the time, our bodies are always going to react to where the club face position is so that it can give itself the best chance of getting it back to a square position. So what I actually want to do in this video is run through where the club face is kind of supposed to be in these positions, and again, they're guidelines. What is so and so square? Because I think a lot of people get this wrong and they don't know what they're looking for. Now I would actually say for the majority of amateurs, you would be better off, and again this is majority, it's not everyone, but you would be better off having a closed club face. I know through my career playing that I have always played my best golf when my club face was closed throughout my swing. Why? Because it then forced me to rotate, gave me good shaft lean, that moved my low point forwards, my ball striking was way better. So I would say, not for everybody, but for majority of amateur golfers, having a slightly closed club face is going to help you. Now, grip and wrist conditions can help you work towards that, so let's go through that right now. What does a closed club face, square to close, look like? Well, if I was to stand straight upright and just turn, you would see the club face is pointing straight up to the sky. It is also matching my spine angle, so that is considered a square club face. Now if it was tilted down slightly, that would be considered a closed club face. Why? Because it's more tilted over than where my spine angle is. However, if I take it back to a square club face position, we are obviously not standing dead upright in the swing. We are actually tilted forwards. So that then means the club face needs to match our spine angle in order to be square. Why? Because we're not standing upright, we're tilted forwards. So in this position here, this is actually square. This would be closed because it's more extreme than my spine angle, and actually toe up would be open. So I see so many golfers shoot themselves in the foot because of a concept. They try and get the club toe up in this position. Well, that's open. So now you're going to have to figure out a way to square it. Quite often that can mean you swinging over the top or throwing out your angles. So practice trying to get, just in the takeaway, club face matching spine angle or a little bit lower, maybe a little bit more down to the ground. Now, once you've done that a couple times, then from there, as we swing to the top, we're going to look at the top of the backswing position. We're going to use the left arm as our guide. If the club face is matching the left arm, that's going to be a relatively square position. If it's pointing more to the sky and it's not matching the left arm, that's going to be a closed position. And if it's pointing more down to the ground, not matching the left arm, again, that's going to be more of an open position. So you can see again, we've got the spine angle as our guide in the takeaway, left arm as the guide at the top of the backswing. As we then come down in the downswing, this is the sort of money zone right here. We want to be seeing that the face is starting to twist back down towards the ground. I see so many people lay the club face open this way. When it gets laid open this way, good luck, because you're going to have to use your hands and arms, your wrists to try and square it up. So I want you to get that club face pointing more down to the ground on the way down. How are we going to train this? I like to take the right hand off the club and just have it open. So an open palm drill. Here's what it's going to look like. You are going to do some swings where you feel like in the takeaway your palm points down to the ground. That excessively closes the club face. At the top of the swing, palm points up to the sky. In the downswing, palm points down to the ground. At impact, palm points again sort of down and forwards, and then you turn it through. Now you can hook your thumb slightly over just to give you a little bit more control, but you can still see my palm is very much open. So then from there I can sort of do this a little bit more fluidly. So if I go palm down, palm to the sky, palm down, down and forwards and through, and I can actually just clip a little shot doing that. Palm down, palm to the sky, down and forwards, and you can see that's gone no further than say 40-50 yards, but it really, I felt good compression on that, considering I was just holding on with my thumb and I was just very much letting the club swing itself. And that's the thing, if you get the club face in a good position, the club will swing itself. It will move really well around your body. Gradually from there, close your hand up and then use that palm as your same reference guide throughout your full swing. That's going to massively help you control your club face throughout your swing, ultimately allowing you to get into better impact positions so that you can strike the ball better. So there you have it. Those are the 3 key areas of the swing that I would focus on if I was to start again. And actually, to be honest, with most golfers, if you just focus on those 3 areas, you're going to be a very good golfer. Now, if you need help more one-to-one with your game, I offer online coaching on the Skillist app. So you can have a lesson with myself no matter where you are in the world. The link is going to be down in the description. Please check it out. I'd love to help you with your game. If you have any questions about today's video, drop them down in the comments as I answer every comment. And if you've enjoyed today's video, then please give it a like and subscribe. I hope to see you back here soon.